Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Going Rounds podcast. Don't mind me. I was over here jamming out to my intro music. I don't know why. Sometimes it just hits different. I guess. I don't know. That song gets stuck in my head when I'm thinking about stuff that I need to do with the podcast. My like intro music just starts playing. I need to I need to take a note from Tommy on the Rumble podcast and just start letting it play a little into us or me talking and then let it fade out. Do some nice little extra music going on there. Uh anyway, a little change I can make. I've made other little changes here and there. Got a different camera set up now. Um Seems to be working okay. This is the first time using it, so hopefully, no technical difficulties. That'd be great. I've had it going pretty much all day, yes, or not all day, but like a lot of the time yesterday I was prepping and then today. So I think it should be good. I like the look and feel of it, and just little changes here and there that I like to make to the podcast, make things better, change it up. Background change that's got to come soon because I like all my posters, but I want to move stuff around, maybe get a little bit of a different feel. We'll see what happens. Anyway, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today, but really, I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about besides recapping last week's fights because there's my chair is making some weird noises and I don't know why. Hopefully, you can't hear them, but I keep hearing it in the background. And it's driving me crazy. Uh, yeah, there's no UFC this week, so that's kind of nuts because there's always the UFC, right? And then on top of that, there's not even any other combat sports events this week, really. Very, very minimal stuff as far as like well-known events and organizations having events. So yeah, not a lot to go off of. But there's a few things we're gonna talk about that you can take your time up with, and that'd be the McGregor documentary that just came out on Netflix and called McGregor Forever. I'm gonna get into it a little bit here in a bit, but yeah, that's something you can watch. Maybe rewatch some of the fights from this past weekend or boxing. I guess there's some boxing events going on. I'm not sure really like who's fighting and who's not, so it's one of those things where yeah, I don't know much about it, so can't really go through it. But either way, nothing really going on this weekend, so it's a bit scarce as far as topics, except when Dana White is just on a rampage, running off at the mouth over everything and everyone and what everyone's doing and everything like that. Dana White's a big mouth. We all know this, and he talks a lot of shit, but he keeps it real at the same time. So I guess you can't really blame him too much. You can't hold it against him too much, but he is kind of a dick and not always like not an enjoyable way. So sometimes he gets annoying, and yeah, he gives you something to talk about though because he had a lot of beefs going on this week. Over the past few weeks, he's had a lot of shit going on. A lot of things that he decided to have a really strong opinions on. So this chair is gonna drive me nuts. I keep hearing the sound. I don't know why it's making noise today, but I hopefully it stops. Maybe I need to stop moving. That's the thing. I don't know. It's weird though because I'm not doing anything different. I'm just sitting here like always. Guess it's time to take a drink. Maybe forget about it. So yeah, other than that, I want to say congratulations to my daughter Haley. She graduated from Pima this week, actually last night. So she's on her way to trying to become an EMT, which it's not an easy feat from what I understand. So the testing is tough, and she's in the process of trying to get that done. That's pretty awesome. We got to watch her walk and do the whole graduation thing, which I'm sure a lot of people are doing right now because oh good. My wife says you can't hear the chair, which is awesome because I can hear it though. It's driving me crazy. Uh but at least you guys can't hear it, so that's good. Then I just look crazy because I'm talking about it and everyone's like, what? Anyway, yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are doing the graduation thing right now. Kids graduating left and right, everywhere from kindergarten to 8th grade to high school, college. So congrats to all the grads out there, and hopefully everything goes well with your next level of schooling or in life, I guess. Graduation time is crazy. Everyone's always busy and traffic's insane. So many people wanting to go to all these events. We had to go to the TCC, so that was fun, but uh didn't turn out being too bad. It just sucks on a Wednesday. Either way, happy to see my daughter graduate and walk and stuff like that. It's always cool. So congrats to her and everyone else out there that graduated or is graduating. And yeah, that Memorial Day weekend coming up. No UFC, like I said. So time to enjoy catching up on things or giving it a break. As for me, I'm gonna have to be finding out what to talk about next week. Although there will be a UFC the week after, so I'll have that to preview. I haven't looked up any other combat sports events that are happening. I don't know if there's a Bellator, BKFC, anything like that, but I'll be checking it out and going over all that. And I'm sure Dana White will have a lot more to say. So we'll be able to cover that. And maybe some other news. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Until then, we will get started here. And I'm gonna get going a little bit different this week because normally I go over combat sports news first, and then I get into recaps and previews. I'm gonna do the recaps because there is no previews this week. So combat sports stuff will come at the end. Like I said, we'll talk about McGregor documentary, the start of the Ultimate Fighter, all the beefs that Dana's involved with, and all the drama. And yeah, that should cover all that. So there's a lot to talk about there, and I got some opinions. So stick around so you can check it out and see what I got to say. Hit me up in the chat if you want to join in on the conversation or throw something my way to let me know what you think about any topic I'm on. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share this with a friend. Always trying to grow the channel, so help me out in any way you can, which easy enough. Hit a button, like and subscribe, tell a friend, share it with a friend, who cares? Any of that would be great. So, uh, yeah, let's get into a little recap of last week's UFC. UFC Vegas 73, Mackenzie Dern versus Angela Hill. Strawweight fight was pretty damn good. And man, Mackenzie Dern looked great. Obviously we'll get into that in a few, but on the undercard, they were kind of the headliners. Nothing else on the poster because they were just pretty much the main attraction, which is cool, getting the women out there as the main attraction for the fight. And really, this card wasn't that stacked and there wasn't a ton going on. So, they left them on the poster. And I mean, the poster looks all right. Sometimes it looks like shit. Sometimes it looks pretty lazy this time. Somewhat lazy, not too bad though. But yeah, undercard. There was a story going around about the first guy that fought on the undercard. I think Themba Gorimbo. Something about him and Colby Covington. Colby was like helping him, because he barely had any money and he was giving him food and all this other stuff, which is great to hear. At least a douchebag like Colby Covington can fucking still do something good. I don't like that motherfucker. Everyone knows that, I'm sure. But yeah. Hey, Christo in the chat. What's up, brother? Oh, super crispy. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm glad the picture looks good. I was wondering a little bit, but I get caught up, so I'm glad it looks good. Hopefully it holds up and keeps up looking good and doesn't take a shit on me in the middle of the podcast, because that would suck. I think I've tested it enough though, so we're good. But anyway, yeah, so this guy is talking about Colby Covington being a good dude, and I've heard that a lot. So I gotta give him props. He does do nice things for people and stuff, but that act that he plays, that's all we ever see all the time out of him. And I think just for the simple fact that he plays that part of just the heel / dickhead, douchebag, fuckface, stupid cunt, whatever else you want to talk about, whatever else you want to call him, that's what he is. So when he acts that way, and I think he's starting to let that overcome him. He's done it for so long now. Yes, it's an act from what everyone says, but he does nice things like this for people. I got to give him credit for that. He does have some skills in the UFC and in MMA fighting and stuff. So, I give him props for that, but doesn't mean I got to like the fucking dude, right? So back to the positive. That guy got the win. Unanimous decision over Takashi Sato. So not a super easy fight for him, and he got that win. Then we have Chase Hooper getting a win after in his first fight this year. Unanimous decision as well. Versus Nick Fiore. Alir Latifi unfortunately got a loss by decision. Split decision though, so no domination there. He was fighting Rodrigo Nascimento. And then let's see who else was at the... Oh, okay. So I wanted to go over the main... was it the main fight? Oh, it wasn't even the main fight on the undercard. But Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Vanessa Demopoulos was a pretty damn good fight. Now, this is a fucking this is a crazy ass picture. Another one of those caught in the middle of getting punched or kicked in the face. This doesn't even look like Demopoulos as far as her face, man. It almost looks like a fake ass picture. But this is just tell the tale of the fight, because Demopoulos got dominated by Karolina, man. Kowalkiewicz fucking came out to whoop someone's ass, and she definitely did that. So she just dominated pretty much this whole fight. And I just wanted to highlight it because she, like I said, she dominated. Demopoulos didn't really know. I think this was kind of a step up for her in competition. She hasn't really fought too many women in the hasn't fought too many women in this division of that like high caliber. I was just looking because I thought I remembered something, and I was right. She actually missed weight, so it was a catch weight at 118. It's supposed to be 115 straw weight, and yeah, she missed weight, but Kowalkiewicz still took the fight, which was a good decision. A lot of times when someone misses weight and their opponent still takes the fight, the person that missed weight winds up winning. So that was a big chance that Kowalkiewicz took, and she made it her, she bet on herself and she won. So big time, because she definitely got a big win there. Let's see, Demopoulos, she fought Jenu Frey and Lupi Godinez, Sam Hughes, but everyone else is kind of like, they're not super high level. Like Kowalkiewicz is a former title contender, and she fought for the belt once or twice even, maybe. So to get that high caliber of a fighter, Demopoulos just got overwhelmed, and yeah, she just needs to get a little more experience under her belt, and keep training hard, and then she'll get to that level, because I think she's got the skills. She was coming off a 3-fight win streak, so she definitely has the skills. But she's 9-5 in MMA. She doesn't have that much experience, so I think with a little more experience, she's gonna be able to hang with someone like Kowalkiewicz. So moving on though, one of the nastiest fucking KOs I've seen in a long time. Maybe not a long time, just kinda. But Diego Ferreira versus Michael Johnson. Ferreira just came out like a motherfucking banshee and just clean knockout of Michael Johnson in the second round. This is him mid extra punch on the ground, but he was able to kind of hold back a little bit and restrain himself, but here's the full KO. Bam. Now this is reminiscent of another fight where Michael Johnson got knocked the fuck out the exact same way. I can't remember who the opponent was. Actually, I could probably look here right now and tell you, because as soon as I see the name, I'm probably gonna remember. Josh Emmett? Was it Josh Emmett? I think it was Josh Emmett. Yep. Josh Emmett kind of knocked him out the exact same way that Ferreira did here. So, like I said, filthy fucking KO. But as you can see, Ferreira, he did restrain himself. He was going down for that punch. He went to take it, noticed he was out. He actually grabbed Michael Johnson by the back of the head and held him up like, holy shit, which is kind of crazy. You don't see a lot of fighters doing that. You know, it seems kind of weird when you're looking at the fact that you just KO'd this motherfucker and you're about to hit him again while he's out cold. But he had the restraint to not do it, and then he like picks him up and cradles it. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. It's cool because the respect there, that's good. But it's just kind of weird to watch him do that, you know? And the ref's always like trying to pull him off, wants him totally away from him. I know it's because, you know, they want to make sure that nothing dirty happens. Nobody fucking sneaks in another punch or starts choking someone for, you know what I mean? The refs have adrenaline going just as much as the fighters do when these knockouts happen, because they got to get there and break it up before the person that got knocked out takes extra punches. So that's just something they got to think about. So their adrenaline's running too, as you can see here. Herb Dean like just running over there to get him off, and I think that's Herb Dean. That might not be Herb Dean. It looked like him at first, but yeah. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, this is pretty crazy. Nasty KO. But we had another one, another Joaquin Buckley highlight reel KO with that big fucking head kick, as he did against, and of course the name is slipping my memory right now, but I'm gonna find it in just a second. It was, holy shit, was it really that far back? It definitely was not. Who was it that he, oh man, I don't remember who it was that he got that kick against. But either way, another highlight knockout for Joaquin Buckley. And let's see exactly what I'm talking about with that head kick. Perfect on the temple, across the chin. You know, the foot wraps to the back of the head a bit. Like, that's a nasty head kick. Nasty KO. He wasn't obviously out cold like Michael Johnson was, but he was definitely out. And yeah, that was the end of that. And it looks like Joaquin Buckley kind of got an extra shot in there when the ref was trying to hold him back. But when it comes down to it, the ref kind of did some weird, like, barely pushed him with the arm, didn't really make it known. I think he was kind of unsure himself. So either way, nasty head kick knockout. Congrats to Joaquin Buckley for getting that. And yeah, that was against this might be why, because I bet you, oh yeah, Andre Fialho. That's what it was I clicked on the wrong damn name. I don't know why I do that so much. I'm just always caught up and doing what I'm doing. Oh, I picked the right name. What the fuck? I still can't find that name. That Jordan Wright? Was it Jordan Wright? No, head kick. No. I don't know who the fuck it was that he did that to, but that was a nasty knockout as well. So, Joaquin Buckley with that head kick KO against Andre Fialho, if I didn't say that before. And moving on to the other women's fight. Lupi Godinez versus Emily Ducote. As you can see here, Ducote got some good hits in on Lupi, but unfortunately for Ducote, she got the loss in the unanimous decision. So Lupi Godinez winds up with that win. She had some pretty impressive strikes going on in between the fight, you know, throughout the fight, I mean. And she just came out with that unanimous decision, which is good for her. I believe she was coming off, oh yeah, she was coming off a win, so that makes 2 in a row for Lupi Godinez. And Emily Ducote winds up, that's her second loss in a row. Yeah, she lost to Angela Hill. So 2 in a row for Ducote. She needs to get it together because it's never good to lose 3 in a row in the UFC, as I've said in the past. But we'll move on to the co-main. I forgot what I was saying there. Anthony Hernandez versus Edmund Shahbazien. As you can see here, Hernandez with that accurate uppercut, like just pressing that nose, man. That's a Shahbazien tried to get that knee in there, but Hernandez got that punch through. So it's a pretty gnarly fucking picture of him getting hit in the nose. Look how fucking pressed sideways his nose is. But yeah, Hernandez just pretty much dominated Shahbazien. Finished him in the third TKO, elbows and punches, which you'll see here in just a second. This is the setup. You know, he caught that kick, pressed him against the cage, picked him up and put him on the ground, and then worked from there. And this was the finishing result. You know, he just wound up mounting him. Shahbazien's, you know, trying to turn out of it and stuff, but Hernandez dropping those elbows and punches. That was it for Shahbazien. So, and that puts Edmund down to, let's see. Oh, yeah, that's fuck, man. He had 3 losses in a row. Then he had a win. And now he has another loss. So hopefully he doesn't have 3 losses in a row again, because that probably wouldn't be good for him. But Anthony Hernandez adds to his prior 3-fight win streak. So now he's on a 4-fight win streak. He's 11-2. So not a bad record. His only losses are against Marcus Perez and Kevin Holland. And it looks like he's just, you know, jumping up in competition. So, you know, he keeps rising like that, keeps getting those wins. That's going to be good for him. Then we move on to the main event. Mackenzie Dern versus Angela Hill. And like I said, Mackenzie Dern, I think I said it last week, she's in the process of getting a divorce, and you know, she seems to kind of have rightfully so she seems to kind of have some anger going on that she needed to take out. Rightfully so, because I heard her in an interview yesterday talking about the fact that basically she's getting a divorce because she was in an abusive relationship, and I guess the guy was pretty manipulative and just outright nasty towards her on everything, including basically threatening her constantly with calling the cops, because she's obviously a fighter. She's a well-known fighter. She's in a well-known organization that's very popular, the UFC. So it's pretty easy to find footage of her being a fighter, a professional fighter at that. And her husband used that against her and said that, you know, basically, you know, controlled her and told her, you know, you can't do shit to anything I do because I'll call the cops. So get your daughter taken away because you're violent. And to show that they'll have a bias because she's a professional MMA fighter. So that's pretty fucked up. Good reason, you know, for getting a divorce. If he was really doing all that, this is all allegedly. I mean, she's getting a divorce though. So, I mean, the dirt usually comes out, but I haven't heard much until now. You know, she just kind of went through and told her story. It's kind of weird though, you know, she still has this whole thing going about still wanting her daughter to know her dad and all that, which is great, but you know, the abuse is kind of worrisome. So if he's abusing her physically and mentally, you know, is it possible he does that to the kid? Kind of weird. But it sounds like she's also having to pay him money because he has. This is how much dirt she let out about this. I'm over here talking about it like I know this girl, but that's how much. This is how much she talked about in this interview. I guess he's using the excuse that he has a problem with his back, so he can't work. So she's like having to pay him extra money and shit. I'm like, damn, this sounds like usually what a dude talks about when he gets a divorce, about getting the cops called on him for being violent and fucking, you know, having to pay extra money and all this other shit. So I don't know, man. It's a crazy story. I thought the dude was a professional surfer. I don't know. Maybe I was mistaken. I know he's a surfer. He's, you know, he looked like kind of a goofy dude, but it looked like they were happy, and then all of a sudden, bam. So she had a lot of anger to take out, and she definitely did that. You know, she kept getting Angela Hill in compromising positions, going for those submissions. I think she had her in this armbar attempt for a few different times, always dropping those hammer fists down on her. But she definitely talked about it and found, you know, I found out that she finally realized that, you know, even though she's a high-level jiu-jitsu practitioner, she doesn't have to only rely on her jiu-jitsu. She has a lot of skills, and she's been honing those skills and working on them and it shows. Her striking was a lot better in this fight, and she came out there looking like she wanted to do something with her hands, and that's good. Because usually she's trying to get people down, pulling guard, doing all that shit, and it gets her in trouble a lot of times. So that's kind of what she did a bit with Yan Xiaonan, and she just got that loss to her. So hopefully this is just a sample of what we're gonna get in the coming years with Mackenzie Dern. Hopefully she sticks with it. I've been following her for a while now, ever since she got in the UFC. I had heard about her before that too, and was watching some of her jiu-jitsu competitions. So it's not that I have a bunch invested in her, but I definitely, she's a great fighter. I like her as a fighter, and I think that she's got a lot of potential. So I'd like to see her, keep rising up. She called out Rose Namajunas for a fight, saying that she thinks that their styles would match up great. Rose has been competing in a lot of ADCC competitions, which for jiu-jitsu and whatnot. So I guess that kind of caught Dern's attention, considering the high-level jiu-jitsu player she is. So who knows? That could be a good fight. That would be tough for me. I love Rose. I've liked her a lot for a long time. I followed her career for a long time too. So it's going to be a tough one for me. I'd probably have to stick with Rose and root for her. But yeah, it'd be tough either way. So that does it for UFC Vegas 73. Moving on to the 2 boxing matches that happened last weekend, which were pretty big, from my understanding at least. So Katie Taylor versus Chantel Cameron was Katie Taylor's homecoming to back to Ireland, and that's where she's from, and she hadn't fought there in a long time. So she was making her way back, and it was a pretty big deal. She's a big star. She's very well known around Dublin, and she doesn't even realize how, I guess, famous she is. That's what I was looking for, famous. So she was, looking to stay on that big win streak she was on and keep her record. But Chantel Cameron didn't allow for that. And, it seemed like a pretty damn good fight. Not too many people complained about the outcome. It looks to me like, there was pressure in the first couple rounds from Cameron. Looks like round 1, 2, and 3, Katie Taylor kind of won round 2 and 3 from what it looks like. Cameron won 4, 5. So yeah, it looks like it was a back and forth fight from everything. I mean, it was a 10 round fight, and nothing was too crazy. It was 10-9 rounds all around. But Katie Taylor did a good job, but she just couldn't overcome Cameron. Seems like Cameron was just kind of almost too big, kind of bullying her around a bit. So it was a 95-95 scorecard is overruled by 2 verdicts of 96-94, and Cameron keeps her world titles and takes the undefeated record of Katie Taylor. That's what I was getting at earlier. I don't think I actually said it, that she was undefeated, but that's what I was getting at. I had it in my brain. I don't think I actually said it though. But yeah, Katie Taylor is undefeated now. She has 1 loss on her record, which could be good for her. Sometimes that takes some pressure off, the that 0 next to your name is always tough to keep. It's always pressure. But like I said, a lot of the highlights and a lot of the pictures I was going through and seeing out there were of Katie Taylor. Maybe that has to do with her popularity and her, her fame. But, I mean, if you were trying to tell the story with pictures, you would think that Katie Taylor won this fight. So that's kind of crazy, just considering, we know that Cameron won. It was did I say split? Damn it, I don't even know. Yeah. Yeah, anyway. You wouldn't even know that, judging by all the pictures. Like I said, there was a lot of Katie Taylor, landing punches and everything like that. But in this picture, it was kind of crazy because, as you can see, there's another one of those mid-punch pictures. Cameron doesn't even look like herself, but they kind of landed a punch on each other in this sequence. Then we get to Cameron and everything she landed. Nobody got like super beat up. A lot of times you see them both kind of knocked up and have some bumps and bruises here and there. Chantel Cameron looks gigantic in this picture. Look how big her arm looks. I know it's the motion, but even her legs, she just looks so much bigger than Katie Taylor. So I don't know if maybe that had something to do with, the outcome. As you can tell, that picture is a little deceiving because Cameron's not that big, but she definitely, in comparison to Katie Taylor, is bigger. But like I said, Cameron came out with that win. There's always that mutual respect at the end of the fight. Cameron did have some lumps, I guess, on that right side, it looks like, from this angle, but you couldn't really tell when you're looking at her straight on. It looks a little puffy, but Katie Taylor landed hard shots. That's what she's known for, too. And, yeah, she just couldn't overcome. Cameron winds up with all the belts, of course, boxing in their ridiculous belts. All of those belts, I don't even know what they're all for. I don't even know what they're called. I know the WBC, that's about it. There's just so many fucking belts, as you can see. If you count them, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that we can see. So it's like, god damn, a lot of fucking belts. Anyway, moving on to the men's fight that happened. We had Devin Haney versus Vasily Lomachenko. This fight, man, controversial to say the least, because Devin Haney got the win. And if you watched, everyone seems to think that Lomachenko won. It obviously went to decision. But it looks like all the judges scored it for Haney. 116 to 112, 115 to 113, 115 to 113. So all the judges saw it for Haney. I don't know why everybody watching it on TV, everyone that was live, all the analysts, all of the talking heads, everybody said that they thought Lomachenko won. So it was kind of weird. Because even on, it says Lomachenko came on at the end of the bout and was listed as minus 500 favorite on the live line, but the scorecards didn't fall his way. Like, how are you a minus 500 in a live betting, situation, and then you come out the loser? Like, what the fuck? That seems a little fucking iffy to me. A little dicey, a little fishy. I don't know. But, either way, Lomachenko was not happy at all. I wouldn't have been either, especially if everyone seems to think that he got the win. A lot of the pictures, like I said, if the pictures told the story and the highlights told the story, you would think Lomachenko won this fight for sure. So he got a lot of big shots landed on Devin Haney, including, big right, big left. The pictures always look a little more dramatic, but when it comes down to it, you can't deny the fact that he landed that punch and landed it clean. But, Devin Haney also landed his fair share, hitting to the body, big rights. That's a big shot right there. There was some power behind that, considering where his arm wound up after hitting him. It's a nice tight punch. You can get some power behind those kind of punches. These guys aren't big either, so really the big same fucking picture? I think it is. Whatever. Fucked up. Here's a big uppercut though by Devin Haney. And of course, Haney got the win. Was feeling himself again with those fucking belts. That's, like I said, some of those belts look the same. That green one, the green one, the red, white, and blue one, that black one even. I think they're all kind of the same belts. It's weird. There's so many different. I can't keep up. I can tell you who the champ is in all the divisions of the UFC, and what weights they're all at, but I couldn't fucking tell you what belt is what when it comes to boxing. Too much brain power to try to keep up with all that, so it ain't happening. So good luck. If you know what they are, cool, let me know. If you don't know, keep guessing with me. But yeah, it was unfortunate to watch Lomachenko after the fight. He was very, very upset, as you can see here. You know, he was caught crying and stuff, which I don't blame the dude, you know, that big adrenaline dump after the fact, and then kind of thinking you won the fight, and then you get the shaft. Kind of fucked up. So, you know, these guys go through a lot, just getting beat up in there or getting hit in general, and then coming out with all kinds of different emotions, and then you wind up losing a fight that you honestly thought you won. So it's always a big upset. But yeah, Devin Haney continues to be undefeated and shows his skill by beating Vasily Lomachenko. So that's about it for the boxing, the traditional boxing portion. Now let's go to bare knuckle boxing, because there was some interesting stuff going on there. I went over, let's see, I just went over basically the women's fight in the undercard, which is Taylor Starling versus Jade Wong, and then, you know, a little bit with Houston Alexander and Jeremy Smith. But it doesn't look like, let's see, a lot of decisions. But again, the undercard is always TKOs or KOs. And then you got decision, KO, decision, TKO, decision, KO, decision. So yeah, you know, even in bare knuckle fighting, there's a lot of fucking decisions. But, you know, it's pretty exciting. Dakota Cochran, who I think I talked about for a quick second, wound up getting a win in the first round fairly quick. So KO in the first round, and it looks like it was pretty exciting. Knockout of the year, made an entry for knockout of the year honors with his first round one punch KO over Noah Cutter. I couldn't find a damn highlight of that one, so but anyway, he came away with a big win. And then like I was saying, the women I covered, Taylor Starling versus Jade Wasan Wong, which is how you'll find her if you're looking for her OnlyFans. And Taylor Starling has an OnlyFans as well, like I said before, which is just funny to know that they both. Anyway, I always highlight it because I always get asked, which one of these girls have an OnlyFans? I just think it's funny, so I always got to mention it. But yeah, these two girls win at it for sure. And oh man, I hate when I clear out a notification that I actually wanted to look at. But yeah, Taylor Starling definitely put up a fight, but she did not have enough to get the win. Regardless of the looks of these punches, you know, it's a battle in there with bare knuckle. That's all I can really say. You got to watch it at least once if you haven't seen it before. You can catch the I heard something outside my door. You can catch the prelim fights for free on YouTube. And if you're really interested in the main events, you can go check it out on their bare knuckle fighting app. And I think you got to pay like $8 or something, and then you get all the fights or something like that, except for the big ones. I don't remember. You have to go check it out. But anyway, Jade Wong definitely got the best of Starling and came out with the win. That's a big punch right there. Jade Wong, there you go. OnlyFans on the trunks. Like I said, it's not that I'm over here just being a creep. They even promote it on their fight gear while they're fighting. But don't think I'm a perv. Anyway, she got the win. And then moving on to Jeremy Smith versus Houston Alexander. So if you remember, I talked about this fight was kind of crazy because Houston Alexander used to be in the UFC, fought there for a while, and he's up there in age. He is actually 51 years old, and Jeremy Smith was 28 years old. As you can see, even just by this, I mean, it Houston looks a lot older than I thought he would at this age. So it's kind of crazy, but he's always been a fucking gladiator, fucking savage beast. So he was able to take these punches from Jeremy Smith and give some of his own. Oh shit, I know what I just did. There we go. Another one of those like mid-punch pictures where their face looks all deformed. But you know what? Those are the most interesting pictures because you see a lot. Just like you kind of see here where Houston has his eyes closed after he hit him. And it looks like Smith is coming around with that right, that it might connect, but you never know. I didn't get to watch this whole fight. But yeah, Houston landed a lot of big shots. Bare knuckle fighting, they got cut up, you know? And lots of bumps, lots of bruises, lots of cuts. Lots of blood. But Houston with that chin checker, this looks like he's got his eyes rolled in the back of his head. Insane. 51-year-old Houston Alexander comes out with the win over a 28-year-old Jeremy Smith. Pretty insane. Big props to Houston Alexander. Fucking OG legend from back in the day, man. I remember his crazy ass fight with Keith Jardine. That nasty uppercut where he just like blasted Keith, and Keith just lights out, shut down, fell to the ground. Looked like his legs just disappeared from underneath him. Insane. Check that fight out if you ever want to, you know, kind of go back in the day and see some of the old fights. But anyway, yeah, that's Houston Alexander coming out with that win as a 51-year-old. Let's move on. That's the end of the recaps. Let's move on to the juicy fucking drama. But before that, I forgot. McGregor Forever. New Netflix docuseries, I should say. It's 4 episodes. They're all about an hour long. So, you know, if you got time over this long weekend with Memorial Day coming up and whatnot, you know, set aside a few hours and go check it out. Honestly, like, I'm not the biggest McGregor fan, right? I mean, yeah, he's up on the wall over there. I told everyone the story of that. He fought Cowboy. Cowboy's one of my favorites. Not a good result for Cowboy, but either way, you know, but I do not deny the impact that Conor McGregor has had in the MMA world overall, but as far as what he's done for the UFC and for the sport in general. So, you know, his skills are there, obviously, because he's a 2-division champ. He did not defend those titles at all at any point in time, though. So that's one of his biggest downfalls. His other is the fact that he can't get out of his own way. Constant drama, getting in trouble, getting arrested, fucking doing dumb shit, probably on steroids, or at least was, you know, just always doing crazy shit, wilding out. And, you know, he has like, what, 2-3 kids now? And this fool is still doing crazy shit. Always looks like he's on coke, allegedly. You know, I'm not accusing, I'm just saying it's what it seems like. He talks a million miles a minute, all over the place, wiping his nose all the time. Whatever, do your thing, McGregor, but be ready for this fucking Chandler fight, because that shit's got to be coming up. And yeah, it's got to be a good one if it happens. So in order for it to happen, you need to clean your shit up. As a matter of fact, let me use your own words against you, Conor.
Get your fucking shit together, my God.
My God. It seems like he's trying to, though. It seems like he's been better. So far, we haven't heard any bullshit happen, except for the few videos here and there of him rambling like a weirdo, coming out of the tough house, all drunk and shit, apparently. So, I don't know. We'll see. But with this documentary, you get a good insight into, like, everything that happened from, you know, the 2 Dustin Poirier fights, the Khabib Nurmagomedov fight, and all the drama that happened after that, I thought it was interesting that they showcased the three fights. Three fights are showcased out of everything, that they really went through, showed you before and afters of what was happening throughout those fights. It's interesting that they showcased those fights, and he lost all of those fights. The two fights against Poirier and the fight against Khabib, lost them all. Those are the fights that are showcased and prominently presented in this entire docuseries, which I know you can't control the timeline. So obviously they were filming throughout this portion of time. Whatever happened. So they can't control that, right? So it is what it is. But it's pretty interesting to know that, all the fights that took place during this time, he lost. Except for, they did go through and go over the Cowboy fight, which, ended fairly quickly. And that was kind of his recovery fight after the Khabib fight. But then he just went on to lose 2 in a row to Dustin Poirier. So it's not like, I think it was 2 in a row. Whatever the sequence was, who cares? Whatever the sequence was, either way, he wound up losing 3 out of 4 fights. It's pretty crazy in the middle of there. So, but his reactions to a lot of the things are pretty telling, especially when, if you followed all of this stuff and was watching throughout the whole thing, since he's been on the come up and on the kind of slope down and back up, and however you want to call it, the roller coaster of a career that McGregor has had. That there's been a lot of crazy shit that's gone down. They went over the bus, the breaking of the window, the dolly being thrown at the window, all that shit. All of his arrests. They went through a lot of shit. The thing that surprised me, a lot of people were talking about it, and it made sense because I noticed it too, is his reaction to Khabib retiring. At first he looked obviously disappointed and upset because that means he can't get that loss back. But over that, he tried to cover it up by calling him a coward and saying, of course you're gonna run, of course. But it is what it is. That's what Khabib decided to do, and that's what he did. And McGregor, I think, it's just hurt him that he couldn't get that win back, couldn't avenge that loss for himself. So yeah, that was interesting. Watching his reaction to what happened after the Khabib fight, where everyone, where Khabib jumped out and went after Dylan Dennis, and then all these other guys jumped in and hit McGregor and all this other shit. It was interesting. Go check it out. You'll see what I'm talking about. He doesn't react like you think he would, and it's just, it's a good docuseries all around, especially if you're a big MMA fan. Whether you like him or not, it's a good series and it's something good to check out. So go do that on Netflix. And don't forget, coming up on May 30th, we got the return of the Ultimate Fighter series with, once again, Conor McGregor. I'm sure you've heard about it. I just told you a couple things about what I've seen and heard. And, he's coaching against Michael Chandler. So it should be a hell of a fight because, at the end of it, they always fight. Not always, but most of the time they do. And this time, this is what this was being put together for. And this is what's being touted right now, is there's going to be a fight at the end of near the end of the year, because finally Conor McGregor has gotten back into the USADA testing pool. There hasn't been an official confirmation from what I understand, but it's basically word of mouth says that that's the case. Conor came out and said it himself. But he can say whatever he wants. That doesn't mean it's true. But it seems like he's definitely in the USADA testing pool now, which means in 6 months he can actually fight. So that puts enough time out there to let him train, for people to watch the entire season, so they're invested in the fight, and then give that good lead up to whatever kind of rivalry that they had throughout the show. And get ready for Conor McGregor to return against Michael Chandler, who is exciting as hell. Win or lose, it's always a great fight when he's involved in it. So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited to watch. I haven't been excited to watch Ultimate Fighter in a while. I used to watch them religiously. I watch them now, but a lot of times I'm distracted because it's a little boring sometimes. I usually just wait till the fight hits and then I pay full attention so I can know who the up-and-coming fighters are. Sad, but true. So, moving on to the beefs between Dana White and motherfucking everybody. Because this fool has something to say about everybody. He's pissing everybody off. He's pissed off about everybody. And he wants to talk mad shit. Well, if we know anything about Dana White, we know that's what the fuck he does, regardless of what you think. So, to start it off, we've got Dana White versus the PFL. Because, of course, with the Francis Ngannou signing, Dana White has tons and tons of problems with what's happening. Because nobody can keep their mouth shut. Everyone's got to ask him what they think of it. Of course, you know, it's content. That's what the reporters are there to do, is report, right? They got to report on what, you know, what they're not going to have a press conference about his reaction to Francis Ngannou signing with the PFL. But what they will do is take advantage of another press conference at the end of a fight to sneak in some of these questions. And a lot of times it pisses off Dana. That's why if you notice in the thumbnail, it says Dana versus everybody. And I have a picture that says MMA media with a bunch of microphones around it, because he talked mad shit about the media too, saying that the MMA media is the reason why this PFL thing's getting blown out of proportion and made to sound like it's way better than it is, and made to sound like, you know, what's actually happening isn't actually happening. So anyway, this is kind of what he's talking about. These were his comments. It makes no sense to me. You're going to pay the guy not to fight for a year, and it's already been like 18 months. He's fought 3 times in the last 3 years. It's just not what we do here. It's not what we do. The day that we released him, I knew exactly what was going to happen. Francis wants to take 0 risks, doesn't want to take any chances, and he obviously didn't want to take a chance with Jon Jones. And after we saw what happened with Ciryl Gane, I don't blame him. This is hilarious because it's been brought up by everybody, obviously. And when it comes down to it, I got to talk about it too, because it's true. And I have my own opinions about things. So I'm going to say it anyway. You know, this is so contradictory to everything that Dana White talks about, because a while back when Ngannou's winning left and right, beating the shit out of people, damn near decapitating people, and Dana gets asked about Jon Jones coming up to heavyweight and fighting Ngannou, he says, hey, I wouldn't blame Jon Jones for not coming back and not wanting to fight Ngannou, especially after what we saw him do tonight. That's a quote from a post-fight press conference, you know, just like he did here. Same thing. And after what we saw with Ciryl Gane, I don't blame him, saying that that's why, you know, Ngannou doesn't want to fight Jon Jones. Well, you say that all the time. And on top of that, you know, he's talking about Ngannou not having fought in 18 months. Well, here's the thing, Dana. He was hurt. He had to recover from the injury and recover correctly. And on top of that, he had a contract dispute going on. Maybe if you guys didn't fucking keep him stringing along the whole time, maybe then fucking he would have fought a little sooner. But he also has his sights set on fighting in boxing, which is also hilarious, because Dana said that's not what we do here, and then turns around, which I'll cover in a few minutes, and says, hell yeah, Tyson Fury, you want to fight fucking Jon Jones? Let's do it. I did it with Conor. I got Floyd Mayweather what he wanted. I can get Tyson what he wants. Blah, blah, blah. We'll go over that in a minute. I got ahead of myself. But that's because Dana White talking mad shit, fucking contradicting himself, being an idiot, being a douchebag, and completely being hypocritical. So, unfortunately for Dana, he's caught. And, I mean, nobody gives a fuck because, you know, Ariel Helwani calls him out, but he already hates Ariel, so it doesn't matter. And everyone knows he hates Ariel, so it doesn't matter. Because if you're a big Dana White fan, you're going to say, oh, that's just Ariel talking shit over, whatever bad blood they have. And then you hear Dana say, oh, yep, I'm discrediting Ariel because, he just has a personal vendetta. So no matter what, none of this other MMA media goes out there and calls him out for the most part. So they only call him out on the Slap Fight League, which is very, very much so needed to be done, because the Slap Fight League is fucking stupid. But nobody calls him out on this kind of shit. So it's pretty fucking stupid, pretty annoying. But remember what he says here. It makes no sense to me, right? Well, those are his comments about what the PFL is doing, and the PFL had something to say about that. One of the founders of the PFL, Don Davis, quotes in a tweet and says, Netflix is not even on our radar screen in terms of competition, which was said by Blockbuster CEO in 2008. Dana says, what PFL is doing makes no sense to me, says the UFC president in 2023. Well, why are those two significant things being said? Because if you remember what happened to Blockbuster, they went out of business. Guess what is still on and popping? And what's still the thing to watch? What's a staple in fucking popular culture right now? Netflix. Netflix and chill. Where are you gonna watch that on Netflix? I binged a Netflix series. Netflix is all over the motherfucking place right now. Where's Blockbuster? Out of business. Out of business. So that's what he's trying. That's the point he's trying to get across here. So then he follows it up with where MMA companies spend money. PFL spends money on fighters. UFC spends money on marketing. So that's the point he's trying to make here. And that's all fair and well. And I appreciate it. I support it. But here's the thing. I think there needs to be a mix of both. I think that a good amount of the money that is spent needs to go on the fighters. Whether it's a 60-40 split, a 55-45 split, or a fucking 49-51 split. I don't care. But I think the bigger amount needs to go to the fighters. Whether it's a bigger amount by a percentage or by a couple dollars, I don't care. The bigger amount should go to the fighters. Then the other portion should be promotion, especially when you make these half-assed, fucking lazy-ass, stupid fucking posters because you have a goddamn event every fucking weekend, all right? Every weekend. So of course you're going to spend money, motherfucker. That's the way it works. I get it. But you don't have to use all of the money, the majority of the money on promotion, so that these guys can go out there, these men and women can go out there and kill themselves damn near and put their life on the line, put their brain on the line, put their health and well-being on the line to get paid not a lot when and to be fighting for their whole check, because if they lose they only get half. It's some bullshit. It's bullshit. They need to get paid better, and they need to get guaranteed money for each fight, not this fight for your fucking purse bullshit, because you're not paying for the price they have to pay in the end. So if they're going to put their body and their life and their well-being on the line, I think they should get paid well for that. So that's just me. So I think PFL is making a good point here. They spend the money on the fighters. I think it needs to be a bit more of a balance. The UFC has phenomenal promotion for the most part, because you always know when it's happening, where it's happening, and how the fuck you can watch it. You can't say that for PFL. You can't say that for Bellator. You can't say that for a lot of these organizations that are trying to become the number 2 or run for that number 1 spot. They don't know how to do it. So the UFC has damn good promotion in that sense. They are a little lazy with the posters. They do get a little lazy here and there with other promotional stuff. For the most part, it's pretty damn good. It's a well-oiled machine. But at what cost? The cost of not getting the fighters paid well for everything they sacrifice. I think that's... I'd put up with some shitty-ass posters and to have to guess every now and again where to watch the fucking fights. Then again, they happen every fucking week on the same channel all the time. They have TV deals with companies that go out and promote them as well. So don't spend so fucking much on the promotion. Give a little more back to the fighters, and you'll have better fights with fighters that appreciate shit. That's all I'm saying. I'll go off on a fucking rant on that. I always do when it comes to fighter pay. And while I said, this argument is valid, I still think they're both wrong. I think it needs to be a better balance with the heavy side going to the fighter pay, not fully all the way, because you still got to have promotion, because what the UFC does for people's careers is not something to ignore. So, but they can also break you down just as fast. That's the problem. So there's ups and downs, pros and cons, good and bad, all of it, really. So that's just my little rant on that one. But speaking of PFL and moving on to something else that pertains to it, is Dana White versus Francis Ngannou. Because Ngannou signed with the PFL. And as we all know already by now, that, it was a pretty lucrative deal for Francis Ngannou. And this is what Dana was referencing earlier, saying that he hasn't fought in 18 months. He's not planning on making his comeback to MMA until 2024, but don't even know when. Don't even know what quarter, what month, what anything. So he just said 2024 because he's looking for that high paying, he's trying to get that bag with boxing. And I can't blame the dude. He's willing to go out there and sacrifice his reputation to possibly get knocked out, or at least get dominated by a professional boxer. But yet Dana says he's not willing to take chances, and it's kind of weird. So I don't know, man. But oh shit, I just pressed the wrong thing. Oh my gosh. I was over here doing all right. Hold on. Now I gotta fix this. I was getting enough of that music though, so it's not a big deal. You know what? Let's just keep it rolling. Dana versus oh, here we go. Oh god, I gotta get that picture out of there. That's gonna drive me crazy. Bear with me while I fix my fuck up. See, that's the right one. Okay. Bam. There we go. So Francis, in response to some of the things that Dana was saying, he says, "What is your problem with me? I completed my contract, was a free agent, and chose to walk away. You didn't release me. Number two, I hate taking risks. That's why I defended my belt to fulfill my contract with no ACL or MCL, his injuries that we talked about." Then he says, number three, the reason I fought 3 times in 3 years is because you wanted to control my deal and sign a new one, I think is what he's trying to say, and freeze me out. I owe these guys 3 fights a year. Isn't that what you say? What happened? I always asked for and never said no to any fight in the 3 years. I'm finally getting paid and respected, and I have a deal that's fair and equal for all parties. Why are you so against me being free and happy? So this sounds like a girlfriend who is offended by her boyfriend saying she fucked up, she shouldn't have left me, I'm gonna find a better bitch anyway. She ain't got shit. She ain't nothing. That's what it sounds like. Francis is like, bitch, you don't know me. That's what this sounds like. Some petty ass shit. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm like, hey, just fucking grow up a little bit here. But Dana's petty as fuck like that, and it brings out the pettiness in other people. What can you say? That's about how it goes. So we'll see what happens with the rest of the Dana / Francis / PFL saga. But let's move on to the next beef that Dana has, which is Dana versus Aljamain Sterling. And this is because we've all known since Aljo won the belt the way that he did with the illegal knee, everyone's had some kind of vendetta against him, right? Slowly dissipating with a lot of the fans. He's getting a little more recognition for the fact that he went out there and fought Jan again, beat him, and then came back and defended his belt again against a great fighter, a legend already in Henry Cejudo, 2-division world champ, Olympic gold medalist. And Aljamain came out, and whether or not Henry was on a 3-year hiatus and this was his first fight back, it is what it is. He still lost. So, and Aljo got the win decisively, and that's it. So he's getting some of that, some of that recognition back. People are starting to let go of the bullshit with the illegal knee, but Dana White still has a lot to say, always talking shit. And Aljamain had something to respond because, they asked Dana about, Aljo saying he never agreed to the fight. And he said he would fight, but he never agreed to it. He wasn't even told. He had to hear it on social media like everybody else. So Dana, of course, starts talking shit. But Aljo said, every single time they've asked me to fight, I've saddled up, put my nuts on the table, and showed up every single time. And I won. Sterling said, it's just like, at what point do I get credit from the UFC and Uncle Dana? Dana is super nice behind closed doors, but then he tells me I can't get out of my own way. I'm like, what does that even mean? Just clarify what that means. Why is it so hard for Dana to go, absolutely the fight is done. We spoke to him. The kid has always shown up to the fight. He always makes weight. He does all the media stuff. We know he's going to show up. Yeah, he just fought 2 weeks ago. He's a little banged up, but he gave us his word. He's going to show up for this fight. The kid is a killer. The kid is a stud. Isn't he awesome? So Aljo's basically saying, why can't he give him his props and recognize his accomplishments and what he's done? He's a champ for a reason. He's defended his belt, unlike fucking Conor. Conor's never defended a belt. He just went up in weight, got another belt, so he can call himself a 2-division world champ, but never defended those belts at all. So, I don't know. Aljo gets a lot of hate, and I'm not sure that it's deserving. So, but of course, Dana had something to say in response. He said, I'm not the one that went out and said, if my body holds up when I'm promoting a fight. If you're not healthy, don't take the fight. We'll have somebody else fight. We'll do something else for the interim title. Don't say you're going to go out and fight and then start saying stuff like, if my body holds up. What's the first thing that happened? As soon as I was at the press conference, I was asked, is Aljamain Sterling really going to fight or not? Is that what you want the fans thinking? How is that not? How is that me not giving him credit? Dana doesn't get it. He doesn't get what he does. He doesn't get the things that he's saying. He doesn't get it. And he contradicts himself constantly. So it's just fucking annoying, because you're sitting out here, and I don't know the inner workings of the fucking company. I don't know what people are actually saying behind closed doors, but neither do any of the rest of us. None of us have receipts to prove and show that that's exactly what happened, right? We don't have video footage. We don't have a transcript. We don't have a voice recording. So we're all speculating at this point. But when it comes down to it, Dana White always has the same fucking MO. Blame the guy that isn't doing what he wants him to do. Talk shit about the guy who doesn't do what he wants him to do. Oh, he's not making us as much money as Conor McGregor? Fuck that guy. That's pretty much how it is. Keep giving me that look, Dana, fucking asshole. Just kidding. The look on his face on the screen, it's like, as I'm talking about this, he's giving me that face, that look like he's disappointed and annoyed by my stupid commentary on his business. But hey, you know what? That's what this show's about. We're talking about fighting, and I'm gonna give my fucking opinion because it's my show, Dana. That's what I'm gonna do. So anyway, yeah, it just seems like Dana's story is the same always, and Aljo's not conforming to what Dana wants him to do. So Dana's pressing him and pushing him, and Aljo's just pressing back. So that's what's happening. I don't know. It is what it is. Aljo is proving himself over and over again, and Dana just seems to keep questioning it. So what happens from here on out, who knows? But that's what's going down, and hopefully it gets sorted out. All of this, I think, also got amplified because of Merab Dvalishvili, who is a training partner and like a brother to Aljamain. They've known each other forever, and they've been through a bunch of shit. So, basically, Dana wants Aljo to fight Merab for the belt, and they don't want to fight each other. So I think this is part of what the problem is. I know that this is part of what the problem is, on top of the fact that he has always had something against Aljo. So, but the drama doesn't stop there. It continues, going from a couple a MMA organization to a couple MMA fighters, moving on down the line to a boxer. And of course he has beef with Mr. fucking Gypsy King himself, Tyson Fury. But Tyson puts himself in this position, and he doesn't make sense a lot of time. So that kind of sucks, because I do like Tyson Fury. I think he's a great fucking boxer, but that's what he is. He's a boxer. He's not a street fighter. He's not a Muay Thai fighter. He's not a jiu-jitsu fighter. He's not a fucking kickboxer. As a matter of fact, he can barely stand on his 2 feet. So how is he going to kick anybody with grace? How is he going to... I'm just kidding. He's got good enough feet to make him a fucking champ in boxing in the heavyweight division. So that makes you one of the baddest men on the planet. Can't talk shit. But the argument here has been that Tyson Fury wouldn't stand a chance against Jon Jones if locked in a room together with no rules. Makes sense, because MMA is called mixed martial arts. Boxing is a striking art form. Only one of the arts that is mixed in mixed martial arts, you fuck. So when Tyson Fury is over here talking shit about everybody else, saying that there's no man that was born from a mother that could beat him in a room and come out over him, I don't find that to be true. I think he's a bad motherfucker. He can definitely do some damage with those hands, with those fists. But when you got to look out for 2 legs and also a takedown, also ground and pound, also fucking submission attempts, joint manipulation, knees, elbows, how many more fucking weapons do I have to list before you understand that your boxing ain't gonna do shit if you don't know how to kick, you don't know how to punch, and you don't know how to defend? Kick, elbow, knee. You don't know how to defend against any of those things either. And I've seen you rolling around with Nick Diaz, but you're a big lanky motherfucker, and that's a small fucking welterweight at the most, maybe middleweight, but definitely not at the fucking weight that you're at as a heavyweight boxer. And you look just fucking awkward. Awkward. You've spent your life boxing on your feet with your 2 hands. That's it. Don't think you're gonna do any damage to any MMA fighter that is of any high caliber. Not gonna happen. So in this case, I have to kind of side on the, err on the side of Dana White, because this is what was being said. We can talk all we want, White said. Tyson can talk, Jon Jones can talk, I can talk, we can all talk. Let's do it. If Tyson is serious and he wants to do it, listen, I got Floyd Mayweather to fight Conor McGregor, and we paid Floyd. We got Floyd the number he wanted. If Tyson Fury is serious and he wants to fight Jon Jones in the UFC, let's start talking. And of course, Tyson Fury, if you guys want to fight me, it's got to be under boxing rules. Fury wrote in his Instagram stories, I don't roll around on the floor, I stand up and punch. Well, listen, motherfucker, the fight always starts on the feet. I get that. But guess what? You miss one punch, you get taken down. Next thing you know, you're rolling on the ground like a flailing little bitch because you don't know what to do. You're a big, lanky, fucking goofy, awkward motherfucker. You're not going to know how to get anybody off you, and you're going to get manipulated and submitted or get a broken limb. Get choked out. You're going to see black. You're going to wake up not knowing what happened to you and grateful for the mercy that someone showed you because they didn't beat the shit out of you while you were out cold because you got dominated on the ground. Listen, I've showed mercy. I fucking choked somebody out and didn't do anything to them while they were out. They got up and still wanted to fight, so we had to see what was up after that. It's the way it goes, you know? I could easily do real harm and damage to you if I choke your ass out and you're snoring on the concrete and I leave you alone. You're lucky. You should count your blessings and get the fuck on. But this person didn't. And Tyson Fury, get your head stomped in. So I don't know, man. I don't know if you really think that's a good idea or not, but you might be big, but Jon Jones is big and strong and powerful too. And here's the thing, I'm not even that big of a fucking Jon Jones fan, but I'm on his side on this one. I think Jon Jones would fuck Tyson Fury up in a fight where you could do other things than just punch. In a boxing ring, yeah, Tyson Fury's gonna win. But if we're talking, oh, you bumped into me on the streets and we're gonna fight, you're getting your ass whooped, Tyson. That's all there is to it. So, on that note, this is the only beef that I can kind of side with Dana White on, except for the fact that he's wanting to put together a fight between Tyson Fury and fucking Jon Jones, saying to fight in the UFC. So I'll give him credit for that. At least it's under his banner that he's trying to do it on. But he wouldn't entertain shit for Francis Ngannou, but he's over here trying to do it with Jon Jones and Tyson Fury. Contradictions like always, Dana. Keep it up, Dana. The beefs are entertaining. Just keep going. Fuck it, at this point. Always gives me something to cover. And I always have my opinion, so I'll put my opinion out there. So if you want to hear more of my opinion, make sure you come back next week. Because that about does it for now. Dana White and all his beefs. Yeah, it's always entertaining. Dana doesn't hold back, but when people talk shit back, it's funny. There's always something to talk about when it comes to Dana White being mad at someone for talking shit. And I'm sure there's more to come. So we'll see what kind of news pops off this week coming up. Long weekend, Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. Have fun, barbecues, whatever you're going to do. For me, I'm playing golf on Monday, maybe. Maybe? I'm not even sure yet. I don't even know. Am I? That confirmed? I don't know yet. But that might be what I'm doing. And then I'll probably just come home and, cook some good dinner. It's a Monday. We got to work the next day, whatever. Have some drinks. But it's a long weekend. That's the most important part. And I'm happy about that. So yeah. Don't forget to join me again next Thursday. We'll be going over all the fights happening the weekend after. And we got a pay-per-view coming up soon. So next week, let's see. This weekend, we have nothing going on. No fights. Next weekend, we have a UFC fight night. And we'll see what other kind of combat sports happening. And then on top of that, the week after will be the pay-per-view, which is going to be Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana, I believe now. Yeah, because it was supposed to be Juliana Pena. So, we'll have a lot to talk about when it comes to that one. And then we'll go over whatever kind of news that happens throughout the week. Oh, and we'll be able to talk about the first episode of McGregor versus Chandler on The Ultimate Fighter. The first episode of the series is going to be out on the 30th, whatever day that is. I don't know, Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. So, we can go over that. That'd be good. So till then, I'm out. A little bit of a shorter show this week. No big deal. I'm okay with it. Have a good weekend. Enjoy everything. Come back here next Thursday, 7 p.m. Oh, don't forget to follow all my social media. It's been going on down there. Going Rounds Podcast everywhere except for Twitter. Going Rounds Pod. Check me out. Follow me. Like everything. Don't forget to subscribe and share this with somebody. I'll see you next week. I'm out. Peace.